Well, there's few things I really know about in life, and, well, beer is one of them. All right, kind of the only one. Every time this year, we seem to have a fight about the liquor laws in Colorado, which I find pretty bizarre. So to talk to them, a founder of one of the great local breweries here in Colorado, Eric Wallace from Left Hand, thank you for being here.
Glad to be here.
And in order to buy your product, you need to visit a guy like this guy over here, Dinsmore, who owns Wilbur's.
Correct.
How's business, guys?
It's marginally up, but we're comfortable this year.
All right. Now, this is not a plug for Left Hand because I drink Coors. I like Coors. I was raised on Coors, but I got to tell you, this isn't bad.
For Pilsner?
It's not bad.
Yeah, it's one of the most difficult styles to make.
I know, good Pilsner is tough.
Yeah.
All right, so Larry Liston has another bill this year that would allow me to buy this, or my loved Coors, in not just your store, but at a 7-Eleven or at a grocery store. Now, from my point of view, as a guy who wants to buy this or a Coors or something like that, this is good. Both of you guys don't seem to like this idea. Let's start over here.
Correct. You know, I've talked with you before, and I think we're both enjoy free market. I think we both aspire free market, but liquor business has not been free market since before Prohibition. We have an intricate set of laws. The laws have kind of brought us to where we are today. This bill makes it less free market by adding a bunch of different caveats and cutouts for people that don't currently exist at a disadvantage to another whole group.
I tell you what, before we hit the particulars of the bill, what's wrong in concept with me being able to buy a brew in my grocery store when I stop by 7-Eleven to fuel up? Why is that a bad idea?
In a free market, that's not a bad idea, but it's just not a free market the way it's set up.
Okay, we'll get back to the details in a second.
Sure.
Now, you want to sell this to me, and by the way, not a bad Pilsner.
Thank you.
You want to sell this to me. Don't you want me to have as many places that I might be able to buy it? You're not a big fan of this because you might not get into King Soopers or into 7-Eleven?
No, there's been a lot of debate over why the Craft Brewers Guild is opposed to this law. But our experience as a group dealing in states like Colorado, which is one of the most competitive beer states in the country, because we've got this kind of enforced super competitive market because everybody gets one license, which breaks up. No one has control. So we have this complete plurality of stores. You can only have one liquor license.
Correct.
If you had a pizza stand or a dry cleaners and you wanted to open up Wilbur's dry cleaners number 2, 3, 4, 5, you could do so. But with the current liquor laws, you get one store and one store only.
Correct.
Right.
That stinks.
No, actually, that's great.
I
know
think
it
it's great,
stinks. Well, of course, it protects you.
It's as fair as it gets. Everyone gets one.
Everybody gets one.
And the consumer benefits from great
Safeway's
selection.
got one.
Let me give you a little
Super's
stat.
got
We have
one.
146 breweries that the Guild is aware of operating in Colorado, with 9 in planning. That's the highest density that I can find of any state, particularly any state near the population of Colorado, 5.1. The other states that are near the top, and the reason for that is because we've become an incubator for breweries, and it's extremely competitive, and everybody wants to sell their beer in Colorado because our share of market here is far, far higher than the national average. And it's because of the competitiveness.
By this protectionism, and if I wanted to have a pizza store, would you guys have a problem if I opened up a second pizza store? No.
No.
Then why do you, if I had a retail store that sold different goods and I wanted to sell it in 2 different places, would you have a problem with that?
No, but protectionism is a loaded term.
But this is a legal product I should be able to sell in all my stores, not just one.
It's a restricted legal product. You have to add that caviat in there.
All products are restricted.
You can't buy it in the nursery. You can't buy it in...
Drugs and alcohol are.
Try food, try anything that emits a radio wave. All these things are highly regulated, but once they meet whatever standard, and yours does, and Coors does, then we should be able to sell them. Now, I understand you don't want to have a competition by a King Soopers that has great buying power, but from my point of view, as a free market purist, I should be able to open up several stores.
And your assumption of free market is that the consumer will ultimately benefit from this kind of legislation. But what's happening? We have
perhaps not. Perhaps not. But it is.
And I agree with you. Absolutely not. Because our experience out of state is that selection goes down. Because obviously national chains, they deal primarily with national suppliers, and they cut national level deals, and you fly out of state to their chain buying market, and you work your way through their myriad system of filling out forms and everything. And if you're a little brewer in Colorado, you no longer walk into your local liquor store. You have to fly out of state to get on the shelf. So what ends up happening is
from my point
you start losing the independence and you lose the access to market.
See,
and the Colorado legislature is working for Colorado, not for national.
No, but it's also not working for Left Hand Brewery. It's working, I hope, to protect freedom, which means that if somebody wants to buy in bulk and let me have my Coors at a cheaper price, I win. Does that mean that it's going to be harder for me to get a specialty beer? Maybe, but specialty shops open up all the time. I look at Smoker Friendly, which you can't buy your cigarettes that you want in King Soopers anymore, but you go to any of the 60-some Smoker Friendly stores, and you'll find every brand you want. Let me bring it over here. I know you don't want the competition, but tell me why it's a bad thing.
It's not competition that I don't want. What I want is equitable competition. And when they can have thousands of licenses and I have one, that's not free market. That's not equitable competition.
Which is why great point. Let me concede that. Great point. That's why you should be able to have as many licenses as you want, and they should be able to have as many licenses as they want, so you can go out there and start consolidating and getting to be a competitor. All right, last thought on this before we get back to the original bill.
If it ended up as a beer consumer in addition to a guy that runs a brewery, if our experience was that chaining up everything increased access to market and improved pricing to the consumer, we would have a different take on this. But our experience is it reduces selection, and as the craft guys, that's bad for us. And from the consumer side, the prices, once they've knocked enough of the liquor stores out of biz, the prices go up. It costs more to buy California beers in California than to buy California beers in Colorado.
Every social planner uses an argument of why having a set of restrictions will be better for the end customer. It's not necessarily that it's better for the end customer. It's that we have a free society, including an economically free society, and where if I should be able to have more retail stores, I should be able to sell the same products in those retail stores. Now, and that's why our laws here in Colorado are so bizarre.
Well, they're bizarre in many, many states. We still have 18 control states out there across the United States. So we're bizarre.
Those are states where the government
sells you the beer. Some it's split between liquor and beer. You've got 5 states that still have 3-2, which is a hangover from Prohibition days. You've got this patchwork of laws across the country. So to say ours are archaic, ours are unique, just like everyone else's laws out there are unique. But where the rubber hits the road for us is that it works here, and consistent regulation is better than inconsistent regulation for all the guys who have signed multi-year leases.
It works for you, but it doesn't mean
it works for beer consumers too.
Well, of course, from your point of view, it does.
It works for consumers very well. We have the largest selection of all the different products in the state, and I've worked in 23 different states so far, and I have to tell you, during that time, our selection, our prices, our availability, there's nobody in front of us. It's that good.
Then why are you concerned? Let's go back to the bill that would allow me to buy a beer at a 7-Eleven. Why are you concerned about that? You've got this great selection. You've got these great prices.
Because the new law puts us at a competitive disadvantage, period.
How so?
Again, how many licenses can they have? Unlimited. How many can I have?
No, they can only have one license, right?
No, the new law, they can have as many as they want. If you're a franchisee of 7-Eleven, 7-Eleven is part of your business. They take a takeoff of it. So 7-Eleven can actually have as many licenses as they want. King Soopers can have as many licenses as they want, but I can still only have one. Second part of unfairness is if I have a liquor code violation, I'm shut. I'm done. I can't sell for the 5 or the 7 days they shut me down. Their income is only 5% based on beer. They throw a tarp over it, and they still compete with 95% of their product. So we have a bunch of inequities.
Let me go to that one
that's
for a
just
second.
two.
Hang on, let's go to that one, because that's an interesting one. Let me let's do it so folks can understand.
Sure.
If an underage kid comes and buys out of your store,
Correct.
and the cops write you up for it, you actually have to close down your store for a little while.
Correct.
After only one violation.
It depends. There are different ways of different people interpreting laws.
Okay.
It depends on the municipality you're in. It depends on if you've had any other rubs of not doing things the right way.
All right.
But basically, they shut you down for 5 to 7 days.
All right. And if this were to happen at King Soopers, it means that their liquor aisle would be
Correct.
shut down.
They just throw a tarp over it.
Well,
so they still have 95% of their revenue. So that's one of many inequities. It
why
just
is that
tells you-
inequitable? They still can't sell booze. You can't sell booze.
He can't sell food either.
I can't sell.
But you don't sell food,
If
do
I
you?
have a beer violation, does that mean then I should be able to sell hard alcohol or wine? Because it was just a
Fine.
beer violation.
How about you can still sell limes and potato chips?
There's not enough to keep the door open that day with it. That's 1/2 of 1% of my income. So that's not an equitable application of justice. I mean, if I'm totally out of business, 100%, and they're only out 5%.
But you're only totally out of business because you only sell one product, and it has alcohol in it. They sell many products.
And why do I only sell one? Because of the way the laws are written.
Great, then let's
So
come up with a
It's not a
compromise.
true fair trade.
I agree. So let's come up with a compromise that allows you to sell whatever you want. They can sell whatever they want as long as they're legal products, and you guys compete on a truly open field. You can have as many licenses as you want. They can have as many licenses as they want. Why do I feel if that was on the table, you still wouldn't take it? Would I be right?
Yes, you would.
Why?
Why is because all of us evolved into different positions. Because we've had laws in place here in the state of Colorado for so long, we have evolved into what we are. Our business model, the person that we rent the building from has a business model. We pay double rent than any other state does to be next to King Soopers because they could get it because King Soopers didn't sell wine and beer. If that business model changes, my landlord can't say, well, it's okay, just pay me half rent. So I'm at a very bad advantage of trying to compete because I can't exist.
All right, so because these disgusting, weird laws have caused the system to keep going, we should keep this system roughly the way it is, even though it's a bizarre back-ass situation?
Or if system was to truly change the free market, that they simply look at the business models and the people affected there, and that something is written that has the compassion to give everybody a fair playing field, but it's going to have to be stepped in the future. It's like going to Detroit, saying next July 1st, I need a total zero emissions car or you got to shut down. And that's a tough position.
So if we had a way to step this in so that mom and pop stores had 5-10 years in order to transition, then you'd sign on.
Do I like it? No. Is it more fair? Yes.
All right, let's bring it over here. You're concerned with not only making good beer, but you want to sell good beer. And by having one license and not selling in King Soopers, that helps you because King Soopers might not pick up a specialty brew.
Well, the one here, obviously, they want to show that they can handle craft beer, so they've made a concerted effort to go out there in their one license and do that. So I recognize that. But they got one license. Everyone else has one license. And for us, that access to market is a much wider ranging topic than just what's going on in Colorado. We have these debates nationally and on the Brewers Association board regarding all kinds of laws. But in order for small breweries to get up and running, they have to be able to penetrate the market and get to at least enough critical mass to stay in biz. So that's where we're coming from. The system works, whether it's bizarre and back-ass as you put it, or it's very effective, incubator for small breweries.
It works for those people who've invested in the system the way it is, including you and including you. But me, I just want to drink my beer. Thank you so much. I'm out of time. Thank you. And thank you. You can always buy me beer. Send it to the Independence Institute. Check out our webpage at independenceinstitute.org. Listen for me late nights on 850 KOA and drink to my health. See you next week.